Hi everyone, and welcome to another US preview here on GG, chiefly focusing on the last really of the Breeders' Cup preps take place at Keeneland and also at Belmont and Aqueduct this weekend. I'll start at Keeneland, which is particularly significant this year because of course it is the Breeders' Cup host venue, so a lot of trainers wanting to run their horses in preps that are over the course and distance of the big ones makes a lot of sense. Start on Saturday night. The Grade 1 First Lady takes place for fillies over a mile on the turf, and this race has really been the domain of Chad Brown in recent years. He's won the last 4 and he runs 3 of the 6 here. He won it a couple of years ago with a filly called Uni, who then went on to land the Breeders' Cup Mile. And although I don't think he's got any filly of that real talent in here, he does have 3 really smart ones, and it's very, very hard to split them. He runs Regal Glory, who last time out was second when favourite behind Casa Creed in the 4-star Dave at Saratoga. She's so well regarded. As I mentioned, she was favoured to beat the boys on that occasion, just came up short, but that form should be strong enough to see her beat the fillies here. But her stable also run in Italian. I like how this filly's been campaigned. She's been campaigned very sparingly. It's actually 84 days since her Grade 1 win, which came in the Diana Stakes at Saratoga last time out. So she's quite interesting. Could still be a little bit of improvement to come there. And technical analysis, I think, is a lovely filly. She won the Grade 2 Boston Spa last time. We're a little bit further than this. She's a filly with plenty of ability as well. But I think the tentative nod has to go here to Regal Glory. On to the Breeders' Futurity, which has a very strong field. So many people wanting to give their juveniles a taste of this Keeneland track. The horse with the best form in the race has to be Forte. The interesting thing about him is that he was supposed to run in the Champagne Stakes last weekend. They've rerouted here, but in his absence, a horse who he beat when he won the Grade 1 Hopeful called Blazing Sevens came out and won. So that Grade 1 form brought in by Forte is looking pretty strong, and nothing else in this race has that kind of calibre of back form to concentrate on. Although, having said that, I'm still going to take him on with his stable mate. This is a horse called Lost Ark, who's 2 from 2 in his career and was a 7.5 length winner last time out at Monmouth. And unlike his stable mate, this has been very much plan A for him. They've stuck with it. They've had this on the agenda for some time, so I think he's pretty interesting. Just mention a couple of others as well for Brad Cox, who runs logins here, and also a horse called Instant Coffee, who's a really nice sort of hard-knocking, trying sort of horse. He's apparently very fit for this assignment, so he might be able to pick something up as well. But for me, it's an interesting race. I'll just side with Lost Ark in that juvenile contest. Onto the Grade 1 Turf Mile, which is probably the race of the weekend over in the States. It's oversubscribed. They actually had 16 declared, so there's 4 also eligibles in here. 12 of them are likely to run. 6 of them are already Group or Grade 1 winners. And I think the horse to beat is probably Santin. He's effective over further than this, but he has got a win at a mile. He's a dual Grade 1 winner, and I think he'll get the pace he needs to really thrive. He's trained by Brendan Walsh, who seems pretty confident going into this. So I think he is the one to beat, but it'd be a tentative pick because it's chock full of quality. The race is now sponsored by Coolmore, and they are supporting it with Order of Australia, who to my mind was a bit of a fluky winner of the Breeders' Cup Mile a couple of years ago. He's not really Group 1 class, I don't think, in Europe. And I think he's going to struggle here. But fascinating that Christophe Soumillon, who probably just wants to get the heck out of Europe, is taking the ride on him. So there will be some interesting headlines were he to win. He's another one we can't ignore. And there's also Dear Old Ivar in there, who won this race last year. But hopefully it sets up well for Santin. There should be lots of pace in there, courtesy of Classic Causeway, who stays a lot further than this and is a habitual front runner. So that looks really interesting on Saturday at Keeneland. Heading over to New York, we continue at Aqueduct, of course, and the feature there is the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, which is a prep for the Breeders' Cup Turf, and that is where we will see Warlike Goddess. She came up a little bit short last year in the filly and mare turf. They believe, and in fact the stats would back them up, that she's better over a mile and a half. Indeed, she's 4 from 4 at this distance. This is why Bill Mott, who's got a good record in this race, he's won it 4 times. That's why he's running her here, not keeping her against fillies and going to the Turf Classic. Going to the EP Taylor over in Canada. So that's why she runs here. She's probably the best filly in here. And she was undone really by a slow pace, and she was very unlucky last time out when finishing second in the Flower Bowl. She's very much the one to beat, but don't ignore Gufo. Love this horse. He was actually wheeled back quite quickly last time. He ran in a Grade 2 Kentucky Downs, just came up a nose behind the winner there. That was quite a quick reappearance, as I mentioned, after his Sword Dancer win. But like War, like Goddess, he really does need this 1.5 miles. He'll be a danger, possibly closing late. But perhaps the filly can take it, and if she does, she'll be making a little bit of history, and she'll be the first of her sex since 1983 to land this particular race. Speaking of good fillies, we get to see another really smart one in New York on Saturday. Sunday, the Grade 2 Belle Dame takes place also at Aqueduct. And Nest, who we know is the best 3-year-old filly on dirt in America, she takes on her elders for the first time here. There's only 4 rivals in this Grade 2 Belle Dame. The only one that should really give her anything to think about is Travel Column. But Nest should be able to win this and then carry on to the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Super weekend of racing. Enjoy it.